Hi everyone, happy Monday. Hopefully y'all had a great spring break. This is our, basically we're done with this unit. This video is going to be talking about our Capstone QPA, which as you know is our final assignment and the assignment with the biggest grade. So I just want to say thank you for everybody who have been following along with me this whole time. And I know virtual learning has been a hard time, but you guys have been doing great contacting your teachers and doing your best. And so I really, really, really want to encourage you guys to keep up the good work and to continue to invest in your education despite what's happening in the world. And I hope that you guys are safe and that you're doing well. It was a nice break for me, and hopefully you guys had some time where you didn't have to do any too much screen time and whatnot. So let's get started right away. I'm just going to share my screen and go over what to expect for our QPA today. All right. So right in front of you, you should see your Capstone QPA. This is for Unit 5. I'll just go over a couple of our learning targets, and I will be basically going over what to expect for this document. And then I'm going to go over some important deadlines and just some school updates, okay? So first thing first, our learning targets for this document is that you should be able to describe a scatter plot by examining its features, variables, trend, strength, and relationship. For those who have been joining me for live sessions, this should sound familiar. You also want to be able to make predictions based on the data shown on a scatter plot using a best fit line. And last but not least, you should be able to create conclusions based on the data from a scatter plot, really talking about correlation versus causation, all right? So these are all the key concepts that we have been learning so far in this class. Our content standards is SID6, represent data on two quantitative variables on a scatter plot and describe how the variables are related. SID7, you want to interpret the slope and the intercept of a linear model in the context of data. And last but not least, you want to distinguish between correlation and causation. As you can see, our content standards are connected to our learning targets. And so this is just to make sure that you're on track, and especially since after this, you'll be moving into category 2, preparing you for the MCAS that you'll need to take in order to graduate. And for our school competency, it's lead inquiry, which means being able to ask great questions. And in order to ask good questions and to investigate, you should be able to collect and analyze data. So basically, based on this assignment, you should be able to use tools, technologies, or models to identify and explain important relationships among variables, factors in my data set. And so this is what you will be doing. In the past, I was hoping you would be able to do your own research question and collect your own data, but we'll have to save that for another time. I will be handing you the data that we're looking at. So let's look at page 2, right here. So for the overview of this QPA, in this QPA, you will be answering questions based upon data presented on a scatter plot. There are 3 parts to this QPA. Each section will address the learning target that we talked about on the first page. Please answer each question in complete sentences with mathematical reasoning and vocabulary. Good luck. So it's really important that you guys really do your best to put a lot of details in your answers. That way I understand, not only do you know the answer, but you're able to explain why, which is a very, very important skill to have, whether you're going to be career or college ready. Okay, this is the vocabulary for our assignment, and you want to ask yourself if you know what these mean, and if you don't, you can Google these words and kind of try to figure out what they mean, or you can look through previous lessons to see. But this is a good way to check if you have a good understanding before you begin your assignment. So you should know what independent variable, dependent variable mean. You should know the difference between categorical data and quantitative data. You should be able to identify the trend of a scatter plot, the strength of a scatter plot. You should know the difference between correlation and causation. And you should know what slope, y-intercept are, and you should be able to make a prediction or be able to explain a relationship / conclusion for a scatter plot. All right, so I'm just take a moment for you guys to go over that. Please, if you have any questions about what they mean, comment below or message me. That will be really a quick way to get your answers if you have a hard time finding it through Google. So let's look at part 1, all right? So the directions are this. You want to answer questions 1 through 4 based on the scatter plot below, read what the graph is about, and answer in complete sentences with mathematical reasoning and vocabulary. So when I'm talking about mathematical reasoning and vocabulary, you want to use the vocabulary in this section, all right? You also want to use complete sentences so I know what you're talking about, and you want to make sure that you answer every part of the question. So this is our scatter plot. It's about family size, meaning like how many people are in a family, and laundry load, so how many loads of laundry they do. So this is the context of this scatter plot. So if you follow along with me, during quarantine, Sam has been having a really hard time getting laundry done because the laundry machines in his apartment complex have been occupied every time he tried, right? So he'll go to the laundry machines and find that if it's not in his apartment unit, it's like a shared space, it's busy, or like people are using it all the time. So he wondered if families who have more people tend to do more laundry. So he interviewed 11 families who live in his apartment and how many loads of laundry they do each month. After collecting data, he made a scatter plot. Let's turn to page 3. So you want to answer for part 1, answers number 1, 2, 3, and 4. You want to answer it inside the yellow box. You can do this on Google Classroom. If you have the paper version, you could just write it out, but it should be fairly straightforward. And I added the scatter plot here so you don't have to look back and forth. So you're answering numbers 1 through 4 based on that scatter plot for part 1. Now, if we go to the next page, part 2, the instructions are this. Again, directions. Answer questions 1 through 4 based on the scatter plot. Remember, you can look at your notes if you're stuck on a problem. Please answer in complete sentences with mathematical reasoning and vocabulary and show your work if possible. So here you want to tell answers number 1, 2, and then 3 and 4, which is on the next page, okay? Make sure when you are doing part 2 that you tell me which one is the correct plot with the correct best fit line. So you're picking either scatter plot A or scatter plot B. If you do need a review on what this concept is, this is basically going to be lesson number 12 and 13. Right? This goes over how to make a best fit line and basically what predictions you can make based on this equation. So this is going to have to do with like y equals mx plus b and plugging in variables to figure out your answers. Right? And again, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Now, last but not least, we have our part 3, which means directions. Please answer question number 1 based on their scatter plot. Please write in complete sentences with mathematical reasoning and vocabulary, and you're almost done. Good job. So this is the last question for our QPA, and then you are done for this unit. Okay, so the last question is this. So given the data shown in the scatter plot, can you say that family size is the only variable or factor that affects loads of laundry? Why or why not? This one has to do with the concepts of correlation and causation. Okay, so you're going to look at either lesson number 1 or number 11 if you want to double check what that means, and that should be helpful. Okay. I do want to point out I forgot to do this for part 1, but if you are stuck on this for part 1, right, for numbers 1 through 4, this one you want to look at lesson number 11 as well. That kind of goes over how to describe how to describe scatter plots using all these features. Thankfully, I broke it down so you guys don't so you guys could be able to target each part and whatnot. Usually I just kind of make it one question, but I broke it down for you guys this time. I'm gonna go look at the last page. This is our rubric, right? So just like on the first page, I'll be grading you guys on your ability to lead inquiry and collect and analyze data. I want to be able to see that you guys can do these standards. So this is gonna be part 1, this is part 2, and the last rubric is part 3. So based on how you guys do on each part, that's how I'll be grading you guys, either 1, 2, or 3. Just a reminder, you do need a 2 to get a passing grade. That's basically an A, and 3s are if you guys get an A+, okay? So your goal is to get a 2. And if you guys get a 1, you'll have to revise your work, which you do have time to do. And I highly encourage that you're always open to revision because you always can do better to show mastery. So that's about it for the document. If you do look on Google Classroom, I'll have links to kind of, if you need help with any of the concepts that you can look at. But I do want you to give you a heads up on what's going to be happening this week, okay? So today is the 27th. On Tuesday, we have our live sessions. Please take note that our times are different. For humanities, so you're going to go to your humanities class, whether it's humanities or social justice, you want to go to either Miss Keys or your humanities teacher's classroom at 10:30, okay? So you see it's a later time. So from 10:30 to 11:30, you can drop by and get help on any of your assignments or go over some materials you'll need for your Capstone QPA. Also, humanities would be like ELD if that's one of your classes. Now, for my class, you'll come at 11:30, so hopefully you guys can make it. It is much later. I will be available from 11:30 to 12:30. I'm hoping I can get this done, but on Wednesday, I want you guys to be able to sign up for one-on-one tutoring. If you guys need help on specific assignments, right now you do want to focus on doing your mini QPs and your QPAs just so you can get graded, okay? I might do that through a platform, or I just might have you guys sign up or show up, sort of like office hours. I'll keep that updated, posted on. I'll let you guys know by tomorrow. And then Thursday, once again, is our live sessions. And then Friday is when you want to turn in your QPA. You want to turn it in on that day so that I can give you feedback and make sure you guys are done. Yeah. And I will also be updating grades by this day. So try to get as much done and completed during this week. If you do know, next week I have something called a Unit 4 bundle. So that basically means we're going to be going into revisions. So we're going to be ending our year with Unit 5. We won't be doing Unit 6, 7, or 8, unfortunately. But our hope is that giving you guys time till the rest of the school year to revise and finish and to get a passing grade so you can move on to category. Your next category is really important. Which goes back to the news. Our governor for Massachusetts have decided that we won't be coming back to school for the rest of the school year. And so unfortunately, we will have to do virtual learning until the end of the school year, until June. And while this is really sad for me because I can't see you, and I know a lot of you guys need or appreciate having in-person help, we'll have to do our best with virtual learning. Don't be overwhelmed. I know it's been really challenging, but you guys have time. And no matter what, the Teachers of Phoenix really just want to help and support you through this process. And so we want to help you where you guys are, okay? So don't ever feel alone. You guys got this. And please let me know if you have any questions. I'm available. My number is available on Google Classroom and whatnot. So be well, be safe. Hopefully that this is a good overview of what the QPA is supposed to be. Again, if you have any questions, message me. Hopefully math was impossibly easy. And yeah, have a great, great, great Monday.